In social studies today, we are going to be learning about the history of Kannapolis. We'll start by using a secondary source of information, this book called Kannapolis, A Pictorial History. I'll be showing you pictures from the book and information from the text. Students will learn the timeline of events in Kannapolis and of the individual people who played an influential role in creating Kannapolis over time. They will be able to answer questions in a discussion. Can you imagine what it was like over 100 years ago in our community of Kannapolis? Was it even called Kannapolis then? In 1855, a railroad opened and it was a village of less than 800 people with muddy streets, no sidewalks or street lamps. Can you imagine that? This picture to the right on the bottom, farmers would bring cotton to sell in 1905. James William Cannon purchased land in 1906 that later became Kannapolis. Cannon Manufacturing began production in 1908, and in 1914, Cannon Manufacturing became known as the world's largest producer of sheets and towels. So this is the man, James William Cannon, who purchased land and built the mill. This is the old sign. This is what it used to look like. So the Daybalt family owned the majority of the land that Mr. Cannon purchased in 1906. Also in 1906, the Stapleton family was the only African-American landowners to sell land to Mr. Cannon. Mr. Cannon would produce quality, inexpensive towels for the nation. When he bought the land, he would construct a model mill village. He wanted to have a place that had decent housing for the workers, schools, recreational and medical facilities, and a community with good jobs. So that's where he began building houses in 1907 for the employees who worked there. Eventually, there were sidewalks added so they could walk to work. After World War II in December of 1945, Mr. Cannon made an order to build houses for veterans coming home from the war and starting families. They rented these houses for only $5 every 2 weeks. And these are called the GI houses. And the mill houses were over here to the left, ones that he did first for his employees that worked there. Kids from ages 9 through 16 actually worked at the mill before there were child labor laws. Could you imagine working when you were that young, just 9 years old? So everything that was constructed by Cannon Mills for the mill employees. So like we were talking about with the houses, they kept building homes. They built a YMCA and civic center, a movie theater, daycare center, and a temporary hospital for all the employees. So all aspects of life, from the houses they made to even creating roads and all of those recreational service like this YMCA here to the right, was centered around the mill. All of this stuff was built because of the mill, and this was to serve all of the employees that worked there. So all the way until 1984, when Kannapolis incorporated, an estimated 30,000 people were employees of Cannon Mills. That's a lot of people to be employed at one spot. This is the original YMCA. It began being built in 1908. So the YMCA that we have now in town is still, it's not the same building, but it's still originated from 1908. And the community just kept building and building and building it. It's just a different building at this time. But that's where people would go and play sports together. They would have gatherings, and it was just a place for the community to all gather together, just like it can be now. So in 1997, Fieldcrest Cannon was sold to a company called Pillowtex Corporation. Now with the export of textile jobs, which towels and sheets, there are a lot of jobs that are overseas now. In 2003, Pillowtex closed. That means in Kannapolis, 4,340 people lost their jobs. It was the largest one-day layoff of people in North Carolina. So do you think if that many people lost their jobs, that they would have to move to find jobs, and would other businesses have to shut down because people couldn't shop anymore? If you said yes, you're correct. It was a very hard time for our town in Kannapolis. I'm sure some of your family members remember this. In 2004, a billionaire and sole owner of Dole Food Company, David Murdoch, returned to Kannapolis to purchase the mill at auction. And this is when the research campus began. So, in a ceremony in front of the one-time world's largest manufacturer of household textiles, Murdoch announced plans for a 1.5 billion scientific and economic revitalization project called the North Carolina Research Campus. Okay, this is it here now. It's pretty amazing what our town has. So this is where the construction began, starting in 2008. So the North Carolina Research Campus is an internationally recognized research hub, so all over the world, okay, where collaborative science is leading to groundbreaking discoveries in nutrition, disease prevention, and agriculture. This is happening here in our town. Groundbreaking discoveries. So future development includes 3.2 million square feet of office, lab, civic space, providing jobs for approximately 5,000 people, making Kannapolis home to one of the world's largest urban redevelopment projects on record in the United States. So we're giving opportunities to people again now for more jobs. So this answers the question, how did this help Kannapolis come back from the closing of the plant in 2003? This is giving people jobs to come work and giving opportunities for our city. This is pretty amazing things happening just in our town of Kannapolis. So to go over what we learned today, who purchased the land to build the mills and who is Kannapolis named after? So Kannapolis was named after Mr. Cannon, and he was the one who purchased the land. Did the mills bring jobs and people to our communities? If you said yes, you are correct. Okay. The mills is what brought people to our community. The mills provided houses for everyone and was able to provide places for all of their families to stay, which made our community and our town. So I want you to talk to your families about how they became part of the community of Kannapolis. I hope you enjoy learning about where you're from and where you live, and I look forward to teaching you more about our town.